So go ahead and this is the same Henry that came here, right?
Yeah, he's been coming in for 3 weeks now, I think, since his consultation.
Cool.
Once the last 2 weeks, and then the beginning, the trial 3 days.
Nice. Cool. So go ahead and fill me in on Henry and let me know why you're reaching out and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so we got him 2 years ago, just about to the day. He is 2.5 years old. We were in St. Louis up until a couple months ago, which is where we had him for the majority of that time. And the things that he struggles with are like other humans, and other humans like is this big like kind of trigger, I would say, where when we were in St. Louis, especially, it's gotten a lot better. He'd be barking at anybody we saw, basically, whether they were across the street, whether they were next to us, whether they were biking, running, skateboarding, whatever it was, he was barking. And I think I saw a little bit of improvement over the course of the time of having him in St. Louis, but especially since we've been in Chicago. He interacts with a lot more people here. He sees people. We've gotten to the point where we can just walk down the street. They can be on the same sidewalk as us without really any issues. As long as like they basically don't acknowledge him for the most part. So if they were to like say like, oh, good morning, if it's like a short, like a really brief, like, oh, like how are you doing, good morning, it's fine. But if they were to go like, oh, like how are you doing today, trying to have a discussion with me, he'd get agitated and his hackles would go up and he'd kind of be all on guard and might bark. Is how I see it in like day to day, I guess. With dogs, he loves dogs. He went to daycare 2 to 3 days a week in St. Louis for a year and a half, and now he just got in with you guys. He's going once a week right now, and he really likes playing with dogs on walks. That can be frustrating for me because he wants to say hi to the dogs. Every dog we see, if he's still like towards the beginning, I guess it depends on the walks right now because towards the end of it, he's so hot and tired, he doesn't really care too much. But in the beginning, especially like after the work day and he's been kind of cooped up all day, he's very like, I want to go say hi to every dog and tries to run and say hello, and then is kind of on edge. I would say I don't let him because if he can treat the dog, that's fine, but a lot of the time the human's there too with the dog always, so it's like then he would bark at the human, so like that's not really sustainable. Even if I could say hi to every dog, which I don't really, that's not like a goal that I want to work on, I guess. Like it'd be nice if that's possible, but not really, I guess. And then as far as he goes, like in our apartment, in our house, he has no issues when it's just like the two of us here. He's really good inside. Like he's looking out the window right now. Doesn't really care if people are walking by or whatever. When we leave him, he barks a lot. Kind of hit and miss. It used to be worse in St. Louis. He was chewing things and kind of running rampage. And the chewing's gotten a lot better. The barking is hit and miss, I would say. Probably about 50% of the time he's barking a lot, and the other 50% of the time he's fine, like good, just kind of hangs out. And then when people come over, he doesn't. So I don't know if it makes sense. When I take him outside and like I walk him and meet them outside, and then we all walk in together, so they're like not coming into his space and he's already here. I found that to be helpful. And that helps for like the first 5 minutes, and then he'll sit down and he'll be fine. He'll let him pet him and say hello. He'll be wagging his tail. He'll bring him a toy or whatever. And then when they stand up, whether to go to the bathroom or grab a drink of water or something, he's like they're a whole new person, and he'll be barking at them again. And then once they sit down, he's calm again. And,
yeah.
And it's like 0 to 100 and then back to 0, and that I think is more frustrating to her, just because it's typically her friends coming over, and that's kind of a little bit stressful. Do you have anything that
No, I feel like you covered most of it. But like when people are in here, and even when he's barking, it doesn't seem like he's, I don't know, super aggressive. Like his tail's still wagging, like he's kind of just like spazzing out, wanting to say hello. But that's what makes it so confusing for people, because he'll be like rubbing his belly. He's great. He's awesome. He's licking them, and then all of a sudden, every time they stand up, he's just freaking out.
I would say it used to be more of an aggressive bark when people stood up or something. Like it'd be like you're in my space, kind of defensive. And now I feel more like it's he doesn't know how to like interact with people, I guess, like say hello in like a calm manner almost. It's like he's almost too excited to some extent. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It sounds funny. Henry doesn't know how to say hello to a human. I don't
know. Yeah. Yeah, he's not shaking, he's not handing out his paw, welcoming you in.
Yeah.
But so those are kind of what we've noticed. I think some of the things that, and some of the, like my main thing that I would love to work on for me would be the walking and seeing dogs out on a walk and just having a sustainable, just be able to enjoy the walk and not have to kind of, whether it's change sides of the sidewalk, if there's a big dog coming and he's kind of already on edge, or being able to even every once in a while be able to walk up to a dog and say hello. Those would kind of be like the two main things that I would love to get out of it. Kind of a long shot goal would be eventually like being able to like take him off leash in Lincoln Park and like be able to have him run around with the dogs and play with them and have me and him feel completely safe with that. But I think that's a bit of a long shot.
That's like the ideal. It's the dream.
And anything to work towards that long term would be awesome. For her,
yeah.
Do you want to add what you kind of want to work on?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely both want to focus mainly on that, because that's like the day-to-day of what's the most frustrating. But it would be great if we could at least know what to do when, my friends stand up and he just kind of starts to freak out, like what we should be doing to make sure we're not encouraging that sort of greeting that he really does.
Okay, cool. Anything else? Or is that pretty much it?
I think that's all that comes to mind right now that I've thought of over the last little bit of time.
Maybe his medicine?
Oh yeah, and I guess I forgot to mention we've tried a couple of different medicines with him. Originally he started on trazodone, and it basically knocked him out, and he would just sleep the whole day, and then he'd wake up and be a maniac and would run wild, like Tasmanian devil, just kind of running wild. So we stopped that pretty quickly. We found success with he's on kind of a medium dosage of fluoxetine, which is like human Prozac, I think it is the equivalent of, and then gabapentin. They kind of it's been a good balance as far as helping
still being awake.
Him being awake and active, and like he'll play in the apartment with us, but it kind of takes away him being like super aggressive when people came in, or kind of untrainable outside. Like I think that really attributed to us being able to make progress once we were in Chicago with like kind of passing people on the sidewalk and stuff. Like I used to not pay his attention at all, and I think that's helped with his with that portion of it.
Cool. Yeah, here Henry was just kind of just like very like stressed and anxious to be here. And then like when something would happen, like a change, like a dog would leave or a dog would go home and the phone would ring, he'd start to get edgy. He would never bark since we use the e-collar here to correct him. So we were able to cap him at that point of like when we started to see him on edge, as he's at 0 when he's just relaxed, and we'll see him kind of go 1, 2, 3. As soon as we see that, correct him, and then he goes back to 0. So he's like doing this instead of like do. Then he's barking, which is very hard to correct, or like more, it's not very hard, but it's more difficult. And then it's just more back and forth, and it's more of a fight, of a battle there. But there we're just like, just relax, tap, relax, just relax. That's what I'm just telling him. And then, like you said, in the play groups, he's perfectly fine. The handlers in there that are the supervisors of the play group, he doesn't really care about them. He's kind of happy-go-lucky kind of guy in there. But yeah, it's Henry is just, I wouldn't use the word aggressive. Has he ever bitten anyone entering the house?
No, he's never. Just barking. Like he puts up a big front, like he's all big and scary, but he's never actually bitten anybody or anything. He's just someone coming in. It's scary for that person, kind of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Henry's just a nervous dog. That's all. To us, aggressive means the intent to harm. So if he was aggressive, he would have already bitten someone.
Yeah.
But just nervous is what I'm kind of hearing. Like when you were saying, when you had the guests come over and then he's relaxed and all of a sudden someone has to go to the bathroom, he freaks out.
Yeah.
Thing with when you were taking him on walks and then like, a person, or when a person would say hi to you or like greet you or have a conversation, he'd freak out. The reasons he's freaking out is because, again, he's nervous. And then, so dogs think in pictures. So when he's relaxed and everyone's sitting, everything's calm. And then someone gets up, he's like, whoa, no one can get up. And then it's just a change in his picture or in the environment or like the setting he's in. It's an abrupt change that he did not see coming and he didn't like allow it or anything like that. So he sees this change and he's like, bark, bark, bark. Why are you getting up? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Same thing with the greeting. It's quiet. People are walking by. He doesn't care. Then all of a sudden he hears hello, and he's like, "Whoa! Who told you to?
Who gave you permission to talk?"
So he's just unsettled. Sounds like, and then you're doing good. With when someone enters the home, you let them go in first, right?
Yeah, we meet them outside. Usually she's walking in with them, and we go meet them outside and kind of all walk in together. So it's
good.
He kind of sees them come in with us.
Yes, that's a good way to go about it, just to avoid any like conflict of like the guest entering his home, because like you said, it looks like it could be territorial there.
Yeah.
Has a guest ever entered the home and like, what does he do, or has it always been guests entering first?
We discovered the walking people in with him later. When we were in St. Louis, one of our friends would kind of walk in and he would be much more aggressive. He'd kind of, wherever he was in the apartment, he'd kind of sprint out and kind of
bark his head off
and kind of try and like usher them out the door almost. He's like, "You're not welcome here. Time for you to go."
Yeah, you just follow them around. Barking.
Following around. Like even once we got him inside, he stopped barking. He wouldn't really ever take his eyes off of that. Like if they got up to go to the bathroom, he was gonna follow them to the door, and he was gonna follow them back to when they were seated down and kind of do that. And we haven't noticed that. I haven't noticed that as much in Chicago, and we've been making progress. I think when people get up, and he'll follow them, whether that's to the bathroom or to get a drink of water, he'll follow them, kind of barking typically. But like if everyone's seated, now he'll be perfectly fine. If he's tired, he'll go lay down in his bed. He doesn't need to be directly focused on that person the entire time.
Has anyone ever gotten up and walk towards him while he's barking?
Yeah, I would say like
maybe inadvertently.
No, I guess like some people that he knows a little bit better, like if I have my sisters in and like they know each other decently well, like she'll just be like whatever and walk towards him, just kind of stick her hand down, and he'll still continue barking for a little bit, but again, he knows her better, so he'll kind of stop after
once he
a lot quicker.
Once he smells her and kind of recognizes her standing up, it's like, "Oh, I know who you are."
Yeah.
I don't really know if anybody else.
Okay. And then does he usually like back up, or does he like move forward, or does he just stand his ground, or when your sister goes?
I think he backs up.
He'll
back up and just keep barking.
Yeah,
he's like
he'll get up to where he's like within, I don't know, a couple yards of you, and then if you walk, he'll kind of back up away from you. Like he won't. It's not like you're not getting past me. Like this is my space. It's like I don't. Yeah, backing.
You never
up.
like lunge or like jump on him really, or even
No,
anything.
he's backing up with you, or he's not gonna get up in your face, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a nervous guy, because when you move into a dog that's very confrontational, it's very like, it looks like a challenge.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you move into a dog, if the dog holds their ground, they're like, no, like I'm gonna hold my ground. But then like, like, oh, like when let's say an off-leash dog is like loose, and then someone sees a dog and then they're like, oh, there's a dog there, and the dog's like, oh, there's a human there. As if that human runs away, the dog's like, mine, I win, because they treat it. But what you're supposed to do, right, when you see an off-leash dog, is move into them to tell them to back off, and then they're gonna be thrown off. They're like, whoa, he's coming to me now. I'll leave him alone.
Yeah.
So that's good that he's not taking that as a challenge and being like, oh, you're coming to my space now. Let me address you now. See,
Yeah.
So that's good to hear. But yeah, it's just a lot of nervousness, and a lot of him being stuck in the thought of, why are you here? Who told you to here? Who told you to come here? Why did they open the door for you? He's stuck here. So that's why he's stuck watching them barking. He's just stuck in this mindset and he can't break out of it. Right. It's something that like, he needs to be broken out of, because this being stuck here for such a long time can be unhealthy for a dog. So that's that. And then the reactivity, does he only bark at people or dogs, or did you say bikes too? Or
he used to bark at bikes. That's stopped pretty much altogether. Same with like barking at like a garbage truck. That's pretty much stopped altogether as well. He doesn't like skateboards. Skateboards are a big, and like the motorized
moped or something.
Not a it's like one of like the one wheel kind of like. I don't know what he's not a big fan of that either.
I think it's just a one wheeler. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, then so skateboards and the one wheel he's not a big fan of, and then that's pretty much it. Especially if no one's directly interacting with us. I think the last time he's barked at just like a person would have been like just when we were out on a walk, probably 2 months ago maybe, and we were in Lincoln Park, and this person like was doing sprints up and down a hill, and it happened to be like right next to us, and the person took off and we were like 5 feet away. So I think that's fairly understandable for him. But that was the last time that he's like barked at a person that's not interacting with us in any way, I would say.
Okay. So yeah, if for the walks, for reactive dogs, usually if they're reactive to humans without like the change, right? Just they see the human, they bark, bark, bark. As we start to address it, like humans usually go away first, then calm dogs, and then bikes and rollerblades, and then goes other reactive dogs, and then like this probably the skateboards would be in that section, and then it's like this, you turn a corner, there's a surprise.
Yeah,
that's how we address reactivity, and that's what we see, that like that's what goes away when we're addressing that. And I'll explain that later, like why is that and everything, what we'll be doing. Cool. So yeah, I was just explaining like what we see from Henry, and what I'm hearing from Henry is like I don't see any aggressiveness, but maybe let's say I get up, or like I enter the home and he's barking, and I move into him, he's backing up, and he's already telling me I don't want any problems, buddy, right? But then let's say he has nowhere to go. Like say I get him in a corner and I keep pushing him, and I stick my hand in there,
Yeah.
probably bite, right?
Yeah.
Because he's trying to hurt me, but he's like, okay, I'm uncomfortable. You're still coming to me, so I have to defend myself. I have nowhere to go because, what is it?
No other options.
Exactly, right. Dogs have a few options, like like flight, avoidance, fight, like same as humans, right?
Mhm.
I've already taken away flight. He can't avoid me because I've got him trapped. So the only thing he has left is fight. So
Yeah.
he's fight. So he might bite me there, right? Um, what else? And that's like I said, that's still not aggressive. That's just he's just defending himself.
Yeah.
What else? And then how long has he been in Chicago for?
We've been here
Since
for
May.
So 3 months.
Okay.
3 months, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna lock 3 months.
Settled, pretty much settled in the home, and he's pretty much settled in, right?
Yeah, definitely.
knows the
He
walk
knows
and-
he's kind of got his routine down at this point. No, that's gonna change a little bit once I go back to work in the office. But yeah, he's comfortable with the area and everything now.
Okay. And then are you both working from home, or are you both?
I've been going in every once in a while. I probably have to go into work like 2 or 3 days a week, but for the most part, we're both working at home.
Okay. Cool. All right. And then how'd you guys hear about us?
I don't even honestly Googling, I think.
Yeah, we did a lot of like research, looking for like a daycare place for once we both go back into person. So a lot of research online, and you guys just kind of came up, and it's like
We liked that you guys did the trial that was multiple days, because Henry,
Yeah.
like if you just have a 10-minute meeting with him, he's just gonna be freaked out the whole time.
Yeah, it's like he takes a while. Like a lot of places that, like in St. Louis, when we were trying to get him into a daycare initially, it was like a lot of places were like 15-minute trial periods. So it's like you bring the dog in, it's 15 minutes, and if they either pass or don't pass, and it's like especially for Henry, it takes a while for him to like settle in at all. So that was something that really stood out to us about you guys.
Cool. Yeah. A lot of daycares will just be like, yeah, well, new dog, we'll just throw them in the playpen, and then they're just like, new area, new people, new dog. In my face, I'm stressed out. These guys need to give me space. No one's helping me out. Snap, snap, snap. Oh, your dog's aggressive. You cannot come to our daycare. Well,
yeah, exactly.
You didn't really set him up for success in that situation. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So cool. What else? So, and then you guys are aware, obviously, we use e-collars and prong collars to train and everything like that. Cool.
Yeah.
What do you guys know about e-collar?
We briefly, e-collar is like shocking, right? To some, right? So we've used one. He stayed with my parents probably a year and a half ago now. And he went to a training in Michigan, and they had used one there. So he's used it before, not recently, until he was with you guys. We're totally fine with it.
Yeah, haven't used it in a while though.
Yeah.
And so he was previously trained on an e-collar before, or they just like, was it that same here how we did it, or how did he?
No, it was towards the end of training, they were like starting to quote unquote work on off-leash stuff, or they were supposedly like kind of working him towards that. It didn't work very well, and so they were fitted in for an e-collar, and basically had spent like a day kind of using it, but he was never really formally trained long term with it, I would say.
Okay. Do you own that e-collar or no?
Yeah, I can go grab it. Or I can find it.
Yeah, do you know where it is?
I can't.
But if it's gonna be like a whole thing, you don't need to
No,
find it.
I mean it's not like we're in an apartment. It's not. It's not a giant spot.
Do you remember like what commands he was taught on the e-collar, or how did that?
I don't know. I think most of it was like, from what I remember, if he started to like bark, or if we noticed that he was like opening his mouth to bark, I think that's when they would normally go and shock him. I don't know if that they did much else with it though.
Okay, but before e-collar, he was already getting trained without the e-collar. Like,
Yeah, we've tried. Yeah, I mean, he's great at like, he was getting basic like obedience training, like sit down, lay down, and he does all that great. Like he'll lay down, he'll stay, he won't touch the treat. He knows all that stuff like in and out. Just because we've tried so many different training stuff, but most of it that actually is stuck has just been like the obedience stuff, knowing the fun tricks.
yeah, cool. I'll wait for.
Find it.
Yeah. So it's like.
Oh,
arms,
what does
No.
it look like?
a big remote thing. It was very inconvenient to use. But yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, and then what's the brand on that, or like what does it say on there?
Dog care.
Yeah.
Dog care. It looks like it's got kind of two hearts. One's inverted.
Dog care. Let me see. You remember how much you paid for that? Oh, $40. Okay.
I don't. I did not. I was not part of that.
Oh yeah.
The training I was using my parents.
Oh, yeah. All we need to do is look at the price, and we'll know if it's a good e-collar or not. You know, $40 is not that good. But I'll explain. So e-collar, you call it shock. That's like the old school term. For us, we use a brand called Dogtra. They range from, I mean, you'll mostly have to get like the model that I know that would be best for Henry that we've been using here is called the Black Edition 1900S, and that's like I think around $300, $299, $290, something like that dollars. Very high quality. They're used for hunting dogs. The feeling is not so much like of a abrupt shock, right? The brand we use, Dogtra, has 127 levels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 127. What's the maximum on that collar?
I want to say it's 100 or 99, but I would from shocking myself with it, I can say that there wasn't much of a difference. Like it says 0 to 99, but it's like if you put it at 30 and you put it at 99, there's not like an extreme.
I see.
It's like it says there's 99 levels, but there really isn't, I would say.
I gotcha. There are other brands out there that maybe go to 10. So think of that 10 equal to 127, right? There's so many more numbers to be more specific to the dog, the personality, the environment, or like, you know, whatever's going on. Have you guys ever been to a physical therapist or like a chiropractor?
I have. Yeah.
Henry has not.
Have you ever had stim or like TENS unit?
No. I don't think so.
It's like a little muscle contractor they put on patients if they tore muscle, I believe.
Oh, I've seen it.
Contracts the muscle, you'll see it start to move. That same technology is what is on the Dogtra e-collar. So it's just a muscle contractor. So I think humans, for me, I feel it at like 30, right? If I keep going higher, you'll start to see my thumb just move. And there's no shock, there's no like, right? I mean, obviously, if you go to like 90s or something like that.
If you go, yeah.
Yeah, but like 40s, like you'll start to see the thumb like move like that, right? The look of that e-collar looks similar. Ours is more curved and then it has 2 contact points. What are those 2 contact points are touching is what it's contracting. So it's Jesse likes to say it's electric, but not electricity. So it's not flowing to the dog's body. It's just, you know, whatever it's touching, that's what it's contracting. So you'll see like the shoulder twitch like that.
Yeah.
Ours is very simple to use. It's just like one knob to turn it all the way up, to turn it all the way down. 2 buttons on the side. You have the on and off button, and then like the screen to see it. What else? So the way like chiropractors use the stem or like the TENS unit is they'll say, you know, let me know when it's uncomfortable as they're raising the level. And the client says, okay, that's enough. They lower it 2 levels down, and then they let the machine do its work. That same way is very similar to how we find the number for Henry. Like we'll start low, we'll work our way up, or like high, low as possible, high as needed.
Mhm.
That's what we like to say. They're waterproof. They have like a mile-long range, I believe. So you have a lot of range. They're rechargeable, so you don't need batteries. They last a long time. I think Jesse has had his for 6 years or something. I've had mine like a little under that, like 2 or 3 years, probably 3 years, I think. What else? About any questions about the e-collar?
No,
No,
I mean, it sounds
everything
way
you
better
said.
than this one.
Yeah, it all makes sense too. So
Yeah. So cool. So for Henry, we would have to teach him like how e-collar works, that he's the one in control of it, and that he'll figure out that, okay, when I do this, it turns on. When I do this, it turns off. So we need to teach him that he's the one in control of it. He'll never know that you're the one pressing the button. They think it's like the universe, or it's right.
Yeah.
Like the remote, and be like, that's doing this. It's too much there, right? It's too complicated. Unless like you're waving the remote or something.
Yeah.
But what we would do is the first thing we teach him is probably like how to walk with the e-collar. We call it heel. Our heel is walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. So if you take 5 steps with Henry, Henry takes 5 steps. If you take 10, he takes 10. If you come to a stop, he's to automatically sit at your side with no words said. This is all done to loose, slack leash in any environment. That's what is expected. So that sounds super strict, right? The idea behind this is like, why would I want to, like, even if he was a good walker, let's say he was walking nice, but he was still reactive. The reason why we want to teach him that much, like that amount of structure, is because since that sounds so strict and so like, whoa, he's got to be really focused then, right? Yes. So he has to be so focused on you that nothing else will matter. So if he's focused on here, because he has to keep that, if you walk him on the left side, he needs to keep that right shoulder parallel with your left leg. Because if it goes an inch, he's getting corrected. If it goes a little behind, he's getting corrected. If there's too much space going this way, he's getting corrected for all these little things. So he's like, okay, I know what to do now. I need to be here. I can't take any time to focus on these other people, right?
Yeah.
So that's what would help, like the reactivity, the nervousness behavior, because he's out like open. He doesn't have a job. Once we give him a job, he knows how to focus. He does something that's just kind of like out of line. We have the tool to correct him instead of saying like, no, like leave it, or like anything like that. We don't need to yell at him. All we have to do is press a button, right? Jesse will tell his clients like everything today is very button orientated. So it's super easy for owners to just get the hang of it because it's just pressing a button. And like, he'll say like, the elevators, you press a button, your cars, now you have to press a button, everything's button.
Exactly.
So it's very simple for owners to get the hang of it and understand, how to use the e-collar. And then does he use a harness to walk him, or just a flat collar?
We've tried. Well, we've gone back and forth. We've done harnesses in the past. I found that he pulls more with it. It's like gives him a surface to pull against, and so I'm not a big fan of it. She finds it's easier to walk him because he doesn't.
No, I like that. We've tried the like chest harness, and then we've tried one of those like head halters. And then Charlie normally walks him with just the basic
I walk him with a leash. She'll walk him with a head halter,
Yeah.
Which I'll do if like we're in a high stress situation. So like if we're walking, I don't know, like if we went to like an art fair and there's a bunch of people around, I might use the head halter just because I feel a little bit more secure with it.
Mhm.
But typically day to day, it's just a collar that he's being walked on.
So yeah, well, yeah, the harness, like you said, makes it worse because dogs have what's called opposition reflex. So if you pull back, they pull forward. If you pull left, they pull.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
So harnesses are used for, and it's still a training tool, right? They're still used, but they're used for like huskies. Horses have harnesses to pull carriages. We use harnesses in protection training. So a handler will have the dog on a harness, they pull back and they release. They pull back, release until they get enough frustration because the dog's like, I want to go. You pull me back. I get to go. I can't go. I get to go. They're getting conflicted.
Yeah.
So create enough aggression right towards the person in the bite suit. And then once they've created enough frustration, they let go and they bite the guy. So sometimes owners who get puppies on harnesses and they pull the puppy away from people or dogs technically are training for protection training. The reactive, that's where like a lot of reactivity stems from. It's just like they're just frustrated. They're just like, I want to say hi to these people. You pull me away. This is because this is negative pressure right here for dogs. So it just gets annoying, and they're associating this frustration, this pulling away, this annoyance with that person or the dog. So that's where they get reactive there. Then, like you said, then we move on to like gentle leader, and gentle leader is definitely a better option. You have more control, but you still can't correct behaviors, right? Because you're just moving the head, that's all. You control the head, you control the body, but your dog is still reactive when you move, right? Then there's prong collar. Prong collar is a good step forward because, and prong collars are those spiky collars.
Yeah.
It's a good step forward because now you can correct your dog and control them. But then once you take that leash off, you've lost all control. And sometimes prong collar corrections aren't enough to settle a dog. It's like, I know it sounds nuts, but golden retrievers are very tough dogs. They're very happy-go-lucky. They have a hard time understanding like a threat. So we'll get a lot of Goldens who are like super happy-go-lucky and they just want to play. They're using the prong, like, yeah, it helps a little bit, but they don't care about it. They're so
yeah.
You're correcting me with
That's
that.
what my dogs at home are like. My parents use a prong with Cody and he just doesn't care. He'll just keep jumping up, running around. He doesn't.
So all of those tools have like a low ceiling, right? Again, prong is probably the better one. But again, once you take the leash off, you've lost control, and then sometimes it's not working. Yeah. So that brings you to e-collar, which gets us to 90 to like 100% control, right? To like reliable obedience. So that's why we always go for e-collar. We don't go, all right, we'll try prong first, and then we waste all this time because e-collar can get us the best results. So why do this process? Yeah. Let's just do e-collar, right? And then we start e-collar training when the puppies reach 6 months. They're ready for e-collar, and we dive right into it. Cool. So, were you guys have any questions so far about anything?
I've got nothing.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. There are some common questions that owners will have, which I'll share with you guys. So one of them is, after training, like, is Henry going to have to wear the e-collar all the time? Is it going to be on in the house? Or like, when do we wear? When does it come off? Or like, is it training? We're done training. No e-collar. How does that work? The e-collar is on when you need it, even after training. So for example, on walks, right, the e-collar will always be on, right? Because we can't predict what's going to happen on this walk. So let's say we're walking with Henry and then you're walking on a busy street in Chicago, right? And a car crash happens, boom. And then Henry, being a nervous dog, is like, hell no, right? Right? Maybe he books and then you're caught off guard. Maybe like the leash slips out, or maybe he pulls you down and then he's gone, right? We've heard a lot of horror stories there. So once he's gone, right, he's in flight mode. When dogs are in flight mode, they're thinking kill or be killed. So Henry come isn't gonna make him just turn around and be like, okay, fine. Like,
he's gone. Yeah,
exactly. He's running for his life. Mm-hmm. So then if that happens, you have the remote to override the brain, right? And it's gonna take a lot of power because you need to get through that mindset to override him and be like, hey, you need to come back, right? That's the wrong answer. So that's why we always tell owners, have it on, because you're not always going to be pressing the button. You shouldn't be, right? That's all happening in the beginning, pressing that button. But it's on just in case, right? I still have my e-collars on when I take my dogs for walks. Jesse still does, and like we'll tell our clients, like, we only tap the button like once a month maybe, and it's only for like emergencies, or even if there are any emergencies, then just none that month,
Yeah.
Always on just in case. In the home, if it's just you guys, and like you said, like right now he's just chilling, looking at the window, then he doesn't need it.
Mhm.
Let's say you have a guest come over, 30 minutes before the guest arrives, you'll collar him up, address whatever that is needing to be addressed. And then if you find that in the beginning, when you address him, maybe he's fine throughout the night. Maybe someone can stand up, he's kind of like iffy, but he's still chill. Then you don't need the e-collar. Or if it makes you more comfortable, you can have it on throughout when the guest is here, so you can kind of just, you know, let them know, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
And that will be like a little exercise we can do with you guys, teaching you guys how to, you know, bring guests in your home, right? So what you said before, we have the guests come in. Henry sees the guests walk in, so then he's like, okay, cool, I see this happening. It's not abrupt. I see it happening, so he can't get nervous or reactive about it.
Yeah.
That's a good way, right? It's not the way we would like to address it, but there's no wrong answer in a lot of dog training, right? It's whatever works for you and in your home, then do it, right? So like a dog, I think Jesse had a client that the dog had separation anxiety and would bark in the kennel when the owner would leave.
Mm-hmm.
They live in an apartment, so that needed to be fixed because they're getting complaints.
Yeah.
Then the owner was like, well, I've tried putting him in the kitchen in a playpen and then he's kind of quiet. So then we're like, okay, well, you can do that then. Like there's no right or wrong. It's like, it's obviously not the way we want to address it. Like we want to address things head on and fix a problem. But if that works, then it works, you know?
Yeah.
So again, it's whatever works for you in your home. You pay the bills, you buy the dog food for him. It's your dog. He lives under your roof, right? But yeah. So that's, when the e-collar is on, when does it come off? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Cool. Another question, really quick, is how come when I take the e-collar off, he starts to bark at people across the street, or like he starts to pull me? Like, why does that happen? It's called opportunistic behavior. So an example we like to use with the clients on for our consultations is, do you guys drive on the highway?
Yeah.
You guys go to speed limit?
No.
But then what happens when you guys see a squad car, like a cop on the side?
Slow down.
Right.
Once that squad car is gone, we proceed. We go back to going not the speed limit.
Yeah.
So it's opportunistic behavior. It's a nature thing. Has nothing to do with the training. It has nothing to do with the e-collar. It has nothing to do with the way you guys are practicing. You guys aren't doing anything wrong. It's just nature. If we know we can get away with something, we're just going to get away with it. All dogs are different. Some dogs are still very good without the e-collar. Some dogs need that e-collar on all the time. Some dogs are just, when it's on, or whatever like that. Jesse likes to call the e-collar a cop on a collar. So that's why, that's where I place that part in. Cool. Any other questions?
I thought of one. I know you'd mentioned like the strict walking regimen. Henry tends to be a fairly active sniffer on walks. Would that be like a structured sniff time then? Like you could be like, okay, you can sniff a little bit right now, and then okay, now it's time to get back into like the walking formation, basically.
Oh yeah.
How that goes, or is that like no more sniffing kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's just one question. That's the one question that popped in my mind when you were talking there.
Yeah. So we have the heel, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's in the heel command, a dog can sniff if he's still holding this position, right? So sometimes, usually, when dogs sniff while we're in heel, they tend to go veer off somewhere else. So
Yeah.
okay, well, if this is happening, no more sniffing on the heel. But then let's say you want a free walk. We have another command. We call it like the break command, like a free, free. Okay, now you can go be a dog, right? So let's say you want your structured walk, and at the end, you want to sniff around. Then you'll say break, and now he's released from the heel, and then he can pull you. He can poop. He can pee. He can bark. He can do whatever. You can correct the bark if you want, right? But technically, he can do all these things as as he was before. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Thank you.
And then what were you guys looking for? Like a board and train, daycare and train, in person, one-on-one, or what kind of program are you looking for?
What would you recommend?
Yeah, I guess any of
would be the best, the first place to start with that.
Yeah. So it depends on like your guys' time, so I can run through the programs if you want pros and cons.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you could do that real quick. Thank you.
In person, one-on-one, pros and or it's for him. So we have the 6-week program, the 9-week program, and the 12-week. So think of the 6-week program like I walk Henry around the block, I take him to the dog park or like an open area. That's a 6-week. The 9-week is structured. Like this is a walk with no reactivity. It's a calm walk, structured walk. And I say recall, he comes right away. We go home, a good walk. That's 6-week. The 9-week is, you take your dog, Henry for a walk, you take him to the dog park, you need recall, you go home. But then like on the weekends or something, you go to patios and you need him to lay down and not move for an hour or 2 hours. That's the 9-week. The 12-week is you do all those things and then you go like off leash, you go like hiking every other week or every other weekend, and you need to recall him off deer, you need him to like, all these fancy stuff if you're looking for that off leash obedience. Technically, every program is already building to off leash. So if the 6-week program, you're still getting to that off leash, right? Yeah. The 12-week is more like we teach you more commands to use while he's off leash in emergency situations, or like maybe he goes across the street or like across a river or something like that, and you need him to down right there, or a lot of fancy stuff.
Yeah,
those are how the programs are laid out. From what I'm hearing, is it just depends on how much control you want, but minimum it'd most likely be maybe like the 9-week, because it's 2 classes heal, and then it just depends how much control. So if you're just looking to address the walking and the nervous behavior, maybe the 6-week, because 2 on heal, right? We like to teach you recall because, just in case.
Yeah.
And you have 2 left here. So then we can focus on see where his reactivities at, or his nervous behavior, like behavior-wise, where he's at, right? But then let's say, okay, he's still kind of struggling, but then we only have 2 classes left. So then we don't have that much wiggle room. The 9 allows you to have more wiggle room in case he needs more time or more, more sessions.
Okay.
The 12-week is there if you're like, yeah, I want everything. I want off-leash hiking. I want to address everything. I want the whole thing.
Yeah.
It just depends on you guys, on what you're looking for, and like how life actually, like how, living with Henry would fit a program for you guys. So it's just, we only give you what you're looking for. If you're just looking to address the walks and then the nervousness, let's say the 6-week would be minimum, but I recommend the 9-week.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's say you choose a 9-week. It'd be, for example, Sundays, 1 p.m., 9 times +1. That +1 is in case it rains or you have to cancel, you have that extra class reserved for you, that extra spot reserved for you that no one can take away. Once you have used that extra spot, you have to wait to get back on the calendar to resume your classes. It's Sundays, 9 times at 1 for an hour. So it's an hour a week. So like we just give you your homework, you practice that for that week, and then we give you a new topic, practice that for that week, and then so on and so forth. Just so we're not overwhelming you with information.
Yeah.
We operate at Oz Park, right? The reasons are because everything is there: dogs, rollerblades, baseball games, everything is there. So if you can train your dog at Oz Park, I believe you can train your dog anywhere.
You're pretty set for a variety of circumstances.
Yes. So we operate at Oz Park. We also do in-home if you're unable to make it, or we can meet at a park near you, or however that would work. Depends on you. Any questions?
Oz Park is near us.
That's the closest park, actually.
Yeah. Good. So pros, you're doing it all yourself. So when we do it in person, it's verbal instruction. The trainer, me or Jess, whoever you decide to go with, we don't touch the dog. We're just telling you what to do. So it's all hands-on. You're learning how to, troubleshoot with, the e-collar. You're learning how to handle him in certain situations. Maybe like we're in a situation where there's a bike, a skateboard, and a dog. Like, how would you handle that situation? And we're walking you through it. So then you know how to do it when you go home and everything. Cons, it just takes longer, compared to like daycare and board and train. Everything is recorded, so like if you ever get like maybe a dog walker, you'll see, like, watch this video please, learn how to use the e-collar when you walk him, and then they're set to go. You can give a little, you can see how they're doing and things like that. Or if one of you guys misses a session, you can rewatch it, and then you're caught up with everything. Any questions about the in-person training?
No, I mean, that all
that sounds
really,
great.
Yeah, it sounds really good. That kind of sounds ideal, honestly.
And then quickly, board and train, daycare and train. Board and train is obviously when you drop off Henry, and then he stays for a certain period of time overnight. So we have the 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week. He'd be in like so think of the 4 week equal to 12 week.
Okay, so it's just condensed.
Yes. He'd be in like probably like the 2 week program.
Okay.
You would learn heel, stay, sit, down, place, and come. All 6 commands. So we his first day here, everything is recorded. So as soon as I put the e-collar on, camera's on, you see what we're doing, how he's taking the e-collar, what we need to work him through, his reactions, and how to do the commands and all these other things. The second week, it's advancing his obedience to like the long leash phase, like a 30-foot long leash, right? We hold the end of it. So now he has 30 feet to make a mistake. Let's see where he's at with his obedience. Again, everything's recorded, and they're all sent to you to watch. The 2 week program comes with 4 hours of follow-up, I believe. So those follow-ups are to transfer everything to you guys. So a lot of owners or clients will say, yeah, we went to this trainer, but every time the trainer came to help me with my dog, the dog's fine. Trainer would leave, the dog's back to being a bad dog, whatever,
Right.
So that won't happen because e-collar is very transferable. So like when we do one-on-ones with like couples or like partners, partner number 1 goes first. They do all the hard work because they're going first, right? Then they hand the dog and the e-collar or the remote to partner number 2. They go, and it's super easy because partner number 1 already did the work, right? Because if Henry's number is 30, right, it's 30 for everyone. There's no like, well, he's stronger than me, or she's more stronger than him, or all these other things. It's 30 is 30 for everyone, right? There's no who's stronger than who. So that's like another great thing about e-collar. That's very transferable. The follow-up lessons are to transfer the commands to you guys, because he knows it he knows the commands with us, but he does not know them with you yet. And it's also just teach you how to use the commands. And then we still do those at Oz Park. The follow-up lessons are at Oz Park. Pros and cons: we get it done faster. Cons: we just have to transfer everything to you because the obedience is tied to us. Daycare and train is the same thing. It's just you're just dropping him off for the day of daycare. We train and we're still recording everything, and then you'll just pick him up at the end of the day. Any questions about the board and train and or the daycare and train program?
No, nothing.
Cool. So I don't need an answer right now. If you guys want to think about it, or if you know right now, you'll email me. I'll send a follow-up email with all the programs I've talked about with the prices, the e-collar I recommend for Henry, a link to Amazon where you can purchase it yourself, or you can purchase it through us. It's the same price and everything. What a payment plan would look like for in-person, and then for the daycare and train, board and train, it's just down payments, I believe, and then a form. Oh no, you already signed the form because he's in daycare. So you already signed the forms and everything. So actually, it's just whenever you're ready, you let me know, and then we can begin billing and booking right away, and setting stuff up for you guys. But yeah, any questions?
No,
that
nothing.
sounds great.
Thank you for taking time to talk to us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Trying to think if I missed anything. Yeah, if anything pops up, just email me. Keep an eye out for that follow-up email, and then we will go from there. Anything else?
No, awesome.
Sounds
Thank
really
you.
good.
Awesome, and nice meeting you guys. We'll see Henry. Does he come on Wednesdays or Thursdays, Tuesdays?
He's coming
this Friday.
He's doing Friday this week. He's boarding a night or two this weekend. just to get him accustomed to it in case we need to do it in the future. While we're both still working
here.
from home, we thought it'd be good to get him accustomed to it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Cool. All right. Well, it was nice meeting you guys. Nice talking to you. Other than that, we'll be in touch.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You.
Of course. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.